With strikes and shelling wreaking havoc in Gaza, dozens of aid groups are warning of an impending humanitarian crisis. And to talk about that, I'm now joined live from Gaza by British human rights activist Adi Mormish. Adi, welcome to the programme. So what are you seeing on the ground there? Is the situation in Gaza really as desperate as we're hearing?
It is desperate because mainly people have been in their homes, hiding in their homes for the past 7 days. Obviously, there's been nothing happening in terms of food coming in. Obviously, there's many Palestinians are still dependent on aid as refugees here, and this is still a huge issue. We've just been given a warning actually that over the next 2 hours, Israel's going to accelerate its assaults on Gaza, and this is obviously hugely catastrophic for so many of the people here. They are when we go in the streets at the moment, there's hardly anybody around. There's just usually some media, a few taxis. We're hearing that certainly the biggest humanitarian crisis is in the hospitals, whereby they're short of so many things. Like they've used in 1 week the amount of bandages and sutures and some basic medical supplies in 3 months. Obviously they're really strapped, the ambulances and the medical agencies, because so many more cases are coming in. We had yesterday the largest death toll in 1 day, which was over 30 people killed. Last night the Hijazi family lost 2 children, 2 and 4, and also lost both their parents, who were in intensive care for a little while after that. We've just heard this morning that a mother and 2 women and a small child have been killed early this morning. So the attacks are continuing. People can't go out of their homes. Even media and NGOs have been told to stay in their homes for the next few hours because they're expecting escalated attacks. Yes. So on top of the crisis in the hospitals, you've also got a serious crisis from people not being able to work, not being able to go and get provisions, being locked up in their houses, when already the poverty is very high in different refugee camps in Gaza. Over 80% of people are dependent on aid. There is a 5-year Israeli blockade that stops vital goods coming in and stops normal business happening in terms of import, exports, and free movement of people. So all these limitations now are being tested, especially.
Yes, Adi, you're saying, and we've also heard reports that Israel is warning Gazans to stay indoors, else risk being injured in strikes. Have you heard anything similar?
Just say that once more, sorry. There was an F-16 flying above.
Yes, well, we've heard reports that Israel is warning Gazans to stay indoors, else risk being injured in strikes. Have you heard anything similar?
We did hear that report. It was on a few news agencies. We weren't sure of the source, but these are not unusual reports to tell Palestinians to stay in their homes. Obviously, how on earth are they going to go to shops and buy goods for their houses? There is 1 or 2 shops that usually have stayed open, just with bread and some basic small provisions, usually small food shops. Yeah, I mean, look, everyone is a target now. We've had over 30 children have been killed now, and frankly, it just feels like it feels for all of us really. It feels like we're in no man's land. It just feels like there's that many homes being targeted now, so many civilians that have been killed, and now we can't even go in the streets. And the NGOs are being told to stay in as well. It just feels like we're sitting ducks. Every explosion that happens, it's like a countdown. You don't know exactly where it's going to land. And of course, a key factor as well is that so many houses have been hit and demolished and caught up with the other buildings. There was the media centre was bombed, and the tower in Jundi, and right next door the girl, a 6-year-old girl, was thrown out of her building next door. We visited her in hospital. She's in intensive care with a brain hemorrhage at the moment, and this is obviously the extra effects of all these attacks from people in houses in nearby areas, and this is how a lot of people have been having critical injuries. That's been a real burden. Has been the extent of the injuries are requiring a lot of different treatments not available in Gaza.
Adi Mormish, British human rights activist, thank you very much indeed for that report.